Good morning, and welcome to the JagCorner. Let me check my audio levels on the Jag. Turn those down just a little bit as we get started here. Feels like an eternity. It's been a while. I've been under the weather. If you're new here, my name's Will Thorup. I'm the host here at the JagCorner. I'm a programmer and an artist, and I make Jag games, but I also do this little stream here for everybody, and we play some games sometimes, and we do some programming sometimes. And this week we are doing some programming. We're going to be playing Asteroite, a new homebrew release for the Atari Jaguar, and I've got kind of mixed feelings on this one. I'll get into that in a second. Just a little bit of an apology. Last week I was under the weather pretty hard. I was not doing too well. Wilco and Matt, good morning. Thanks for joining me this morning. I was a couple Saturdays ago, I was dealing with a sinus infection that I was pretty much over with. And Saturday morning I was doing some chores, and after I finished those, it hit me like a pile of bricks. I got a fever, took a nap, slept for 4 hours, woke up, I felt okay. I did a few more things in the evening before I got hit again. And after that, I was bedridden on Sunday, a couple Sundays ago. And it has been a slow climb out of that hole ever since. And so it's been pretty rough. I'm not sure exactly what it was. It could have been the nasty thing that's been going around for the last couple years. I honestly don't know. I'm pretty sure I got that a couple times already, but this has been hard. I'm still a little bit sick, so if you see excuse me, if you see me go to the be right back card, you'll know why. I'm coughing up a lung. I have a little bit of sinus stuff going on. I can't taste anything, or I wasn't able to taste anything. The last few days my sense of taste has been coming back, which has been nice, and that's why I'm a little confused if it's the flu, or if it might just be a really nasty cold right now, because colds can affect your sense of taste too. So anyway, so that's what I've been doing the last week. I felt like last week went down the drain. Like I had zero motivation to do anything. I had very low energy, and I was sick, and that's why I decided to skip the stream last week. I probably could have done it, but man, I would have been miserable. I don't think I would have been any fun to watch. I'm not that much fun to watch to begin with, and so being sick, I imagine makes it 1,000 times worse. Anyways, thanks for joining me. We're going to be playing, again, like I said, we're going to play some Asteroite, and I'll get into a little bit on how I've been involved with this production. I kind of forced myself to getting involved with it because this was made with the Removers library, which is what I've been using to make my games. And so when I caught wind on the forum, along with a lot of other people, that there were issues with this game on certain Jag consoles, I became very interested in helping out, find out exactly what was wrong. And to tell you the truth, I'm still not 100% sure the bug that they ran into. I'll try to explain it. I think I've talked about it a little bit on stream. But anyways, as I play, we'll talk about that. We may be able to get through the whole game today. I'm gonna try to push through the whole thing. I was helping them play test it after the problems that they ran into after they started selling copies, and so I've been through the game 4 or 5 times at least, maybe even a few more times than that, and so we should be able to get through it fairly quickly. And I have, in terms of the quality of the game, I know a lot of people have been talking and saying that this is the best game on the Jag. I don't agree with that at all, but it's not a terrible game either. And my opinion will be a little bit painted because I have been play testing it, so it isn't the most exciting thing to play anymore. But we're gonna play through it. I'm gonna point out some things, give you my opinion. It's not a terrible game, and for a homebrew game, it's actually quite impressive. There's a few things that could have used a little more work, and we'll get into that. But before we do that, and I just realized I am not prepared for this, I don't think. Let me check. Yeah. Let me move a few things over really quick. How was everybody else's week? Everybody else get sick? I don't remember getting this sick ever. Like on Sunday, I was 2 Sundays ago, I was bedridden, which has only happened when I've done surgery and stuff like that. And so, that was interesting. I'm still I'm a young buck, and so I don't worry about going to the doctor too much. I've always been fairly healthy my entire life, and so I was keeping an eye on my fever, and my fever never got really, really bad to the point where I was, sweating buckets, basically. And so I'm just like, I probably don't need to go to the doctor, and so I spent most of the time just laying in bed, hoping it didn't get worse, and it didn't get worse. I was just kind of, the worst part about it was the fever. I had basically a non-stop fever at different varying levels for like 5 days. And I still have on and off fevers because my body's still fighting something off. And so that was the worst part about it, was the fever. And I'm looking forward to not having to deal with that as much anymore. Anyways, enough about me. Let's get to some Jag news here. I just received this game today. Oh, good to hear you aren't sick, Wilco. Michael Z, welcome to stream. Yeah, I think you'll like this game. Hopefully I won't spoil too much of it. Maybe you'll want to drop out of the stream partway through. I'm probably going to get through most of it today. At least through the main, everything you need to get through to beat the game. There's some optional stuff that you don't necessarily have to do, a lot of extra rooms and things, and we're not going to be doing that today. I'm going to be playing this once on stream, and I'll probably won't play it again, at least not for a long time. I'm kind of done with it because I have been playtesting it for the last month or so, trying to help them track down those last few bugs. Let me switch over to the browser. If you're not aware already, we do have a website called JagCorner.com. I try to keep it updated. There's details about our upcoming game, Crescent Memories, which I have been getting some time into finishing up, which has been good. There's just a lot of art assets that need to be finished. I've decided I'm not going to be expanding on it like I thought I was. I'm going to be tying it up and polishing it up as it is now, and getting that finished so I can move on to some other projects. So that's coming along. There's also there's pages for some older software that we've done. We have been working on the 240p test suite. That's pretty much wrapped up now. In fact, I need to contact the group that is in charge of that and see what they have to say, see what they would like finished before they decide to publish that, if they even want to. I don't even know. I should have been talking to them a little bit more earlier on, but that's okay. That's pretty much finished, and that will be freely available for people to download and use here soon, hopefully. I think what we're going to move on to next is either hitting up this Christmas demo or this Portland Retro Gaming Expo demo from 2018, and fixing the code on that. Those were some of the first things that I worked on, and there are some problems with it. I was looking at the code the other day, and there's definitely some work that can be done there. And so we're going to be fixing some of the code on that, and maybe even expanding on at least the PRGE demo. So yeah. But yeah, check that out. There's also a newsletter that you can sign up for there. Yeah, I try to do that once a month. There's a little bit of exclusive content. I talk a little bit about the streams and the games. I give you a little more opinion if you're interested in that. Yeah, it's an opportunity to get a little bit of extra exclusive content from the JagCorner. So for some news, there was, and this had been released a while ago, I believe. It's called Hellgate, which is a Llamasoft game. And I'm not entirely familiar. Yeah, so 2019 was when this was first released, and there's been an update to it. And it's, yeah, I'm not entirely familiar with it. It seems like I've seen on the Atari 2600 there was a game, I can't remember what it's called, but it was kind of like Pong, but you had paddles on the left and right and the top and bottom, and that's what this kind of reminds me of. This is a shooter. It's an arcade shooter, and you have these objects going across the screen that you have to blow up, and I assume you have to avoid as well. Anyways, that's available, so if you have a skunk board or a Jag GD, and I believe this does run in the emulator as well. I did pull this up in the emulator, and it seemed to be working there as well. So some more homebrew coming out. I'm not too familiar with this Joey Age individual. I don't know much beyond that. Check out the thread, read about that. I know they're working on some graphics for it and some updated sound, and so it'll be a little bit different than the original, I believe, at the end of the day. But it's cool to see little projects like this coming up and being available to play. Jumping at Shadows had a little bit of an update, a video update, and it looks like they're trying to do some monthly updates on these. Here, let me turn up the quality on that. A new teleporting system and some new enemies. So this game seems to be coming along really nicely. I'm looking forward to this reboot. All their releases are really solid releases. We're actually going to probably play Last Strike tomorrow to kind of celebrate their upcoming game, Gravitic Minds, which should be shipping this week, and we'll play that on stream in a couple weeks. I'm really looking forward to that. They've had a demo release for Gravitic Minds. If you haven't played it, go ahead, jump over and grab it. It's definitely worth playing. Very fun game if you're into the whole lunar lander or oids type gameplay. There were a lot of games like that back in the 80s. I was looking at a compilation of 8-bit Atari games for the 8-bit computers, and there was one or two games that were kind of like that lunar lander idea. So anyways, but they do have this Jumping at Shadow project coming up. Looks really cool. They're using Cry-Color for the glowing effects. I have actually spent some time over the last 2 or 3 weeks learning how to do that on the Jag as well. So I'm planning on there will actually be a scene, and Audit will be watching that will be using it. It's just a cutscene. It's not the actual gameplay, but I may add it to the actual gameplay as well. We'll see. But I am thinking about future projects and what I can use these glow and shadow effects for, and I have a few ideas already, but very excited for Gravitic Minds. I really enjoyed the demo. Yeah, I've been through the demo 2 or 3 times. I'm really excited for the main game. I'm excited to play that here on the channel as well, so that'll be really good. So yeah, I look forward to more updates there. It looks like it's coming along really nicely. Yeah, looking forward to that. Okay, we're going to be playing some Asteroite. You can actually order this game right now. Looks like they've bumped the price up to $80. I think it was $70, but with inflation as bad as it's getting, it makes sense that the price is inflating on the things that we love. So, and hopefully things don't get worse in regards to that. But I'm going to say what I've always said: support these guys. Go and purchase these games if you want to see future games. This game, is it worth $80? I personally think it is, especially if you do play these games. This is it's a fun game to play on the Jag, and so let's get into it. I don't want to talk about it too much before we start playing. So, and hopefully everything works out here. Hopefully nothing crashes. Wilco or Matt, have you guys played this one yet? You'll see that the last time I played, I got to 73%, and that was I was able to beat the game at 73%. Hey, before we get started, I'm gonna put you guys on the be right back card. I need to blow my nose, and I really don't want to do that on stream if I don't have to. Give me just a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Yeah, so let's get started. Let's just get into this. We may finish this before the end of the day. I'm kind of gonna be a little bit relaxed about it because I have been playtesting. There's some things I know, and I'm gonna show those here. I'm gonna exploit them, but I have not. Sadly, will probably buy it sometime soon. But there are quite a few Songbird games I'd like to get, so I'll probably place a big order when I got the money. That's a good idea. Yeah, Songbirds have been having quite a few good releases recently, and so definitely worth the money, in my opinion. Let me turn the audio up just a little bit. This game does have music, and it's not too bad. It's good. It's not annoying. It's there. This is probably the best I can say about it. And the sound effects are really good. You got a bunch of different enemy types. The game is a little, in my opinion, a little bit repetitive. Has some interesting mechanics. For example, the running is a build-up, and so you have to... this room contains an item vital to continue your journey. Find your way to the platform at the top left corner. Beware of the eggs below. Interesting little message. You don't have too many of those messages in the game. And the ones that you do get are... they're somewhat informative. Like, all the item ones are pretty informative. I think they could have dropped like that one, to tell you the truth. Roll skill. Move inside confined spaces. Press down 2 times to roll. Press left or right to move. Press up 2 times to stand up again. So this is kind of a primary mechanic in the game. You'll use this quite often for navigation and for boss battles. There's at least one boss where it's really useful. There's probably more than that. I guess we're going to see how much I remember, too, now that I've been through this a few times. So, my history with Metroid and Castlevania games is pretty limited. I've never been a huge fan of these games, with a few exceptions. First off, I've never been able to get into a Metroid game. Any of the older ones I've tried too. The NES one, the Game Boy one, Metroid 2, Super Metroid. It looks like a game that I would enjoy, but I've never been able to get into it. So one thing that I wish this game had was the running mechanic. I wish it was you could activate it with a button rather than, or a double tap or something, rather than the build up. It would speed the game up quite a bit, and there's some parts where it'd be very useful to be able to run immediately rather than go to a new section and then build up to a run again. But map over Anthesia Prime. Navigate on 29075 to 1950 DA. I have no idea what any of that means. Press pause to show the map. Press D-pad to move the map. Press pause again to close. Outlines show unvisited areas. Filled areas are visited. So we have a map. let's go check that out. So we actually get access to the entire world of this game, and I don't think anything is hidden technically. And it's quite a big world, and it, especially at first impressions, it's going to feel really big. I was going to show you the whole thing here. There we go. So that's another thing I wish that the map had, was a way to scroll quickly just by holding down a button. It just gives you 2 times speed on the scroll. Especially when you're trying to 100% the game, it's pretty useful to be able to scroll the map a little bit quicker. Another thing I noticed during playtesting, and I'm a little surprised that they didn't fix this. I had suggested this as a fix, but is you can scroll the map and you can go down and you can go down and you can go down, and I think eventually it will wrap around, but I don't know how good that is for the game itself. I don't know if that would cause any crashes. I don't think it would, because it's just a buffer that the display's working with. But yeah, but the fact that the player can get to a black screen like this, I think is really, really poor design, and should have been fixed. Got these weird carapace slug things. Excuse me. We will be to the first boss here in just a moment. But we're going to go save our game first. And so that's one cool thing about this game. Any Metroidvania, I guess, is being able to save, because these are pretty big games. Do you see the orange cylinder in the center of this room? It's not really orange, but sure. This is a save tube. If you enter it, your current progress is stored and you will be able to resume your adventure from here at a later time. So, we have these save tubes, and we can save and get this cool binary thing. It's fun. Looks good. Okay, let's go kill our first boss. Okay, so this is another mechanic in the game. So I'm going to jump here a few times. So if you jump and hold the button down for just... And this is really difficult because the timing between the types of jumps are hard to control. So this is just barely tapping, and it's hard to even get it on that short jump like that. And then you can... It seems like you can jump variably in between, you know, a full jump like this and like a half jump, but it's really hard to get that half jump, especially right here where you need it the most, so you don't hit that tooth. I picked up some health from our little facehugger creature. Okay, let's jump across this chasm. I'm gonna skip the bat guy. Okay, so this is our first boss, and he'll seem a little familiar. You are entering the lair of the Latali Umbra. Make sure you keep it as far away from you as possible at all times. Only fast-moving steel and fire can hold it back. So, there's a little exploit with this guy. I found out if you run over here... Well, let's see if I can get him in the loop here. So he'll run away like that. We gotta not shoot him when he's running away. Let's see if I can get him in the loop here. We may kill him before that. Or he may kill us. I don't know. Okay, so he gets off a little ways there. Oh, no. Never mind. He's acting a little bit different here. Maybe they changed his programming. So what I do is I knock him back like that. Oh, that was pretty easy. But there's an exploit you can get into with him, a loop where he's just off a screen and you can walk over and shoot him a few times and it knocks him back again, and then you run back over to the right and he doesn't chase you. And then you can repeat that over and over and over again. Bomb skill, place bomb while rolling. Press down 2 times to roll, press B to place a bomb. If you are close to a bomb and it detonates, you will fly. It may also destroy obstacles. Here's another one we'll be using quite a bit. So this little bomb thing. And we will be using them quite a bit to get to the next boss. So this is the first time we get to use that exploding bomb hop trick. And we could probably use it more here, but I think it's a little bit faster to just crouch down and shoot those guys. Game does look very nice, especially for a homebrew tile. Yes, so the artwork for this is pretty good. I feel there's a little bit of some patchwork going on with some of the enemies. Like, these enemies feel like they belong, but some of the other enemies really don't feel appropriate. So, for example, these flying guys, I don't know why, but they just feel out of place. The graphics feel a little... almost a little too simpler compared to these, you know, spiky creatures, but the parallax scrolling is really good. I love this purple and blue aesthetic for this area. It looks really good. I'm just trying to think. I think there's only one set of rooms in here that don't look very good, in my opinion. But overall, I agree. I think this game looks pretty good. Yeah, I figured, Matt, that these were probably just from opengameart.org or something, with some modification, I assume. And it does feel that way. It does feel like the graphics are from disparate places. Not quite a unified look, but it isn't bad either. It's cool how much content is available out there for game designers or for game programmers, so they don't have to worry as much about artwork. But for a big game like this, it can kind of feel, like I said, a little disparate, a little disjointed. These first few areas look great, though. Let's see here. I think I usually... So, these spider guys, they're kind of they're what you farm for health. They're about the only way to get health in this game, if I remember correctly. And so, a good strategy for this game is to remember where these spider egg things are. Because you'll need to farm health before some bosses and stuff like that. You can limit yourself game-wise if you totally rely on pre-done game assets. Yeah. And this game does a fairly good job with that limitation, but again, and you'll see it when we go to some new areas, that it'll feel weird going from, you know, these ice areas to these weird beige areas, and then to like a factory setting, and then to this kind of sewer setting. Anyways. I was talking about some of the other Metroidvanias I played, and maybe it's and And again, a lot of this has to do with expectations too. My expectations are different for homebrew games like this, because it is usually one or two guys working on it, and so I don't want to be. Oh, actually, I wanted to go over here. There we go. We're gonna save again. I don't want to be. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but with this game, it feels like the artwork. I don't want to come down on that too much because building our assets is a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, and in a lot of cases, it takes a lot more time than the programming to put together the visual aspect of a game. Depending on the game, of course. But when comparing this to other Metroidvanias like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, there's obviously a difference in quality with the artwork. Symphony of the Night is probably one of the best examples, in my opinion, of 2D pixel art on any system. It's pretty darn amazing to look at. It's beautiful. Let's see here. Where do I want to go? I think we want to go down. Yes, I'm pretty sure we want to go down. Let that guy throw himself off a cliff. Oh, great. Darn it. Come and get me. There we go. Yeah, so Symphony of the Night is one of the few Metroidvanias I actually enjoyed. I've never beaten it completely because that game is massive, but it is a lot of fun to play. Has some really nice... Oh, wait a second. I think we want to go this way first. There's a health upgrade, if I remember correctly. See if we can get to it. Yeah. I need to farm some health here too. So you can shoot diagonally, but you have to move forward to do that. Oh, come on. Missed it again. Another Metroidvania that I've really enjoyed, one that's a little more modern, is Hollow Knight, and I've talked about that before. Hollow Knight is pretty darn amazing, and personally, I don't like the aesthetic of Hollow Knight all that much. It's beautiful in its own right, but I just don't personally like it. Excuse me. But it's the gameplay in that game is incredible. The controls are so tight. They're just wonderful. Everything feels fair about it, even though it's hard as nails. It is a difficult game, but feels incredibly fair, and that's so satisfying for me, anyways. Really enjoy that aspect of that game. So our bombs can blow up these smaller baddies as well. Also, I forgot to mention, we just picked up some missiles, and we'll be using that on the boss here soon. We're going to talk about the controls here for this game in a moment. I think that's one of the things that does the most harm to this game. And it's really just one mechanic, or two mechanics. I've talked about a little bit about the running mechanic. I think that's something that could have been adjusted. Excuse me. So yeah, the jump is one of the mechanics that I think could have been worked on a little bit more. And particularly control over the jump, obviously, But there's another aspect of the jump here that I find actually quite infuriating. And you'll notice this when you start platforming more. That when you jump, so you have a vector where you jump upright. That's your Y vector, but you also have an X vector. Darn it. There we go. But you also have your Y vector, and the way this game works, it's either 0. Gosh, these guys are close to the door. Let's get one more spider here. But you also you can kind of control your jump. So it's what I would call a weighted jump. So when you press in a direction, you will go in that direction indefinitely, even if you stop pressing. That's a little different than a game like Mario or even Hollow Knight, and it's a little frustrating. Do you happen to know how big the team behind this game was? So there's Phobos. He was the principal programmer, the primary programmer, and I think he just had 2 other people helping him with the art and the music, if I remember correctly. I guess we can check here. We do have a manual. Oh, and that's something I didn't show. Let's take a quick break. Dataset user, good to see you. Yeah, I'm finally glad we're able to fire up Asteroite with its problems at launch. I didn't want to play the game because it was actually having issues on all 3 of my consoles in some form or another. I could get it to crash. And so I'm glad that we did that. I had problems with the jump mechanic. Yeah, the jump mechanic is rough, to say the least. I think, personally, I don't think it's serviceable, I guess, but it is probably one of the most infuriating parts of this game is the jump mechanic. But anyways, let me come over to the camera. Very nice artwork. I do like the box art. Have our hero with his gun and he's shooting something up in the air there. It's quite beautiful. Good screenshots. I haven't read the description text. This game has a little bit of a story. I haven't talked about it a whole much because it's obviously there to just fill in the space of a story rather than really incorporate itself into the world and into the enemies and characters. It's really just there to give you a final boss. That's what the story is there for. So Phobos, which is Alexander von Noring, I think that's how you say his name, was the main programmer. Sergio E. Nunez was character design and animation, and music and sound effects was Krauser. And then complementary artwork and fonts from Slidell Mann, level building blocks. And see, I don't know if these were people he was actually interfacing with, or if these are just people that worked on the sets of assets. Carlos Zabers, AnsaMuse.com, Will Tice, and Anacolisa. And then Gary Taylor and Carl Forhan over at Songbird helped out with game testing. Special thanks. Yeah, and so if you want to include all the people that worked on the assets but weren't directly associated with Phobos, there's probably about 10 people at the end of the day that worked on this. Uh-oh, my manual's bent. That's okay. I'll flatten back out. But yeah, the manual looks nice too. It's a slightly different pose than the box art, which is kind of interesting. And then you have another version of him with a slightly... I think this is the main bad guy right here on the back. Pretty sure that's him. Anyways, the packaging is nice. They did. Carl always does a great job with this Jag packaging. Very well done. Yeah. But nice. I had no problems with the jump mechanic. There were also other issues. Yeah, there's quite a few. I was talking with somebody else through email about some of the issues with this game. I'm going to show you a bug that I found that still hasn't been fixed. And you know that you could say it's not a bug either. I personally consider it a bug. We'll get that. I'll show that if we get a little bit later into the game. Because there's one room that you need to be in order to actually perform the bug. But yeah, the jump mechanic. So I'm holding over, and you'll kind of see it where if I go to the left and then hit right, he starts immediately moving right rather than just turning and then just dropping straight down. In games like Super Mario and other platformers, you have full control when you're in the air, essentially, which isn't realistic, but it feels great for games like this. For whatever reason, Phobos decided not to do that for this game, and as the programmer, he can choose to do that. I think it makes the game suffer. Personally, it would have been a little more enjoyable to have that more classic, more traditional jump mechanic. The way it is right now, it makes it really hard to pinpoint where you're going to land. You have to be very conscious about how long you've been in the air. Yeah, it's not impossible to work with, but okay, here's our second boss. And I actually haven't figured out an exploit for this one. All I know is I just get in there, let him do his laser thing, shoot him with a few missiles, and that's it. Pretty simple. That boss is pretty easy, and I think this is a health upgrade. So this is the only health upgrade in the game, which I thought was a little silly. I figured if you're going to do health upgrades, you would do several of them. What I would have done is, because it only gave us like an extra 25% health or something, what I would have done is I would have started the game out with even less health and then done 2 or 3 health upgrades as you went throughout, to kind of create a nice difficulty curve, a more consistent difficulty curve. Depends on what one is used to. This jump mechanic can be more of a deal breaker for some than for others. Have not played it yet, but that sounds not too promising for me personally. Yeah, and some people may not mind it at all. You can get used to it. It's not broken, not at all. But it is. I think it's kind of silly for a game like this to have it work that way. So, and that's very subjective, but. It's not a deal breaker. It will buy the game nonetheless, I guess, because at this point I'm too far committed to collecting Jag games. Yep, it's nitpicking. Yeah, it is a little nitpicking because the game is very functional without it. It doesn't break the game. It's one of those things, and this is going to be kind of my theme in general for this game, is I feel that this game could have used a few more months in development, just polishing a few things up. And so my only qualm with them not doing that is that's, for some people, that's going to feel like a cash grab. For me personally, it doesn't. But I'm just pointing out that little things, obvious things, that don't get taken care of, can create that feeling of he's here just to make money rather than a good game. And he can do that. There's nothing wrong with somebody doing that. It's just you will affect a certain group of people negatively in that way. So this is something that I've really appreciated about Reboot's releases is those games are obviously polished. Whether you think they're fun or not is always a subjective thing. But one thing you can't deny about a lot of Reboots games is there's a lot of polish going on there. And I, as an artist, I really appreciate that. But even as a somebody who does play games fairly often, I really appreciate that. But it's nitpicking. The game is still playing. Oh, thanks. Thanks. I might show you guys another nitpick of mine here. And this should have been fixed, in my opinion. I shouldn't say it's a nitpick. I think it is something that should have been fixed, and it actually made me realize why they do certain things in Metroid. Let's see here, we might be able to do it here. So, every platform has its unique nuances. I mean, look at Ghouls and Ghosts. Yeah, Ghouls and Ghosts. I've been watching. I've tried playing that game. That is a difficult game. I've been watching some Let's Plays of that, and I've been thinking about trying to play it again. Because yeah, that game is notoriously difficult. Yeah, we do need to farm some health here soon. But you're right. Every platformer has its own little things, and again, there are some things I'll be nitpicking about. A lot of it's subjective opinions. I'm not saying anything of what I'm saying is objective, because you are dealing with different people with different likes and dislikes. So. That one always gets me. We need to farm some health here, though. Find a good place to do that. Here is not a good place. Okay, let's see here. Where are we going next? I think we're just the door just here to the right. We're gonna go do that after we save our game. That fool to jump down. There we go. Darn it. Not gonna let you push me down again. Yeah, we do need to farm some health here. Getting low. Come on. We're gonna jump down here. And farm some health. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so this section's kind of, it's interesting. Definitely changes up the gameplay a little bit. We have these tubes that we have to go through. Oh, and you can usually roll right over that hole. But we use that little jump mechanic with the bombs quite often here. And we get a missile upgrade, so now we have 10, which is going to be very useful for the next boss. Yeah, so more missiles, which is nice. We need to go this way, if I remember correctly. There's a couple of these mazes we have to navigate. Don't think there's anything over there, if I remember correctly. Oh, come on. There we go. And we just gotta follow this guy, unless we want to get hurt. But I want to... Actually, technically, we don't need any health for the next boss. So the next boss is actually quite exploitable, but I have the Ghouls and Ghosts ST port for the Jag. After playing it for almost 2 years, I only recently got to level 2. Oh no! Yeah, it's a tough game. I don't think I've ever gotten to level 2 on that one. I don't know if I've ever played the ST version of that game. Oh wow, it's already 7 o'clock. I don't think we are going to finish this today. I can beat this game in under 2 hours. I've done it before, but I've been moving a little bit slower here on stream. Okay, so you'd think you'd want to crack this and go do the boss first, but there's actually a save room over here, which I could probably bypass, but we're going to go do it anyways. And just to say that we did it. You know, I hadn't thought about this before, but the pipes, well, I guess they kind of make sense here. I don't understand what's going on, you know, with the stalactites in the background and these glass pipes going everywhere. It's kind of a weird look. Okay, so this boss I call the Predator boss, and he's pretty easy. Hold up A and C on G and G when it boots to cheat. What's G and G? This should probably be obvious. How you doing, Reboot? Gosh, I can't think of the game. What's G and G? I assume it's one of your releases. Okay, so all you do is you get them, you have them pop up on the edge, and then you shoot a missile at them. This is, yeah, this boss, really easy to exploit. So if you picked up, even if you have just one of the missile upgrades, this makes the boss pretty easy here. So Oh, Ghouls and Ghosts. Yeah. Definitely try that. Ghouls and Ghosts. Thanks. I should have thought of that. We were just talking about it. Okay, so here's another mechanic that's interesting in this game. Somersault skill. Reach further with jump. Press A to jump. Press A again on your way up in the jump. So pretty much all the rest of the upgrades in this game have to do with your jump. With jumping a little bit higher or continuous jump, and we'll definitely get to that final upgrade here before we finish today. I'm pretty sure, anyways. So. Save one more time. Gonna roll over to here to, oh wait, no, not here. We want to go, wait a second, we may want to backtrack here because I think there's another boss. Yeah, I think there's a boss up there. So we actually do want to go over here to the left. Boom. 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 And we'll never have to do that again. I don't think. Hopefully not. Okay, so we can test out our new mechanic here because there's a chasm. And you just double tap to somersault and it gives you a little more distance on your jump, which has unlocked a few new areas. If I was playing this for the first time, you'd probably go up here before you got this jump ability, and then you get stuck and fall down a few pits, which is normal for games like this. So definitely need it here because we can't do a running jump. So we have to do that. Make sure to get in the middle before he hits you. This one we do need a running jump. Hopefully we'll have enough health for this boss. This one takes a long time to beat, if I remember correctly. Oh, we should have stocked up on missiles. It's okay. Oh, we're out of missiles. So we just shoot this guy's chest for a long while here, and then we beat him. So a lot of the bosses in this game are kind of, first of all, there's a lot that are very similar to one another. Like, their patterns are different, but you can tell it was kind of a, not quite a copy and paste job, but not quite. Ow. The boss has a period of invulnerability too, and so the bullets just kind of go through. Ah! No way of dodging that one. In fact, there's about 3 bosses, if I remember right. There's this one, or maybe just 2 that are like this. It seemed like there was one more that was kind of like this. There's a slug guy down in the sewers, and then, gosh, it seemed like there's one other. Oh, we got him. Wow, he only dropped 3 missiles. It's okay, we can farm missiles later on as well. Protective suit. Survive in liquid substances. Avoid instant death in contact with liquid substances. Extended contact will gradually deplete your health. So this unlocks another area of the game here, which I think is where we're going next. I'm going to go farm some missiles here, which I think we can do just by dropping down. Yeah. Oh, I guess we still... There we go. Roll our way to victory. Roll him up. Okay. I guess what we should do... Let's see here. We don't want to go up... let's see here. There's a boss right there. I'm just trying to remember what's up here. I don't think we need to go up there. At least not at this point. So we're going to go down. I'll go ahead and drop down to the second door on the right. Can't time any of those vertical rooms because anything off screen stops moving. Yeah, so I was hoping to show it here soon. There's one where one thing about getting hurt in this game. Darn it, I did not. Oh, cool, got it. I wanted to show. Maybe let's just show it right here. And this isn't the best example, but the fact that you can be pushed back into a sector by getting hurt, I personally think that's poor design. And the reason why I say that is Metroid obviously ran into that same discussion. They had the same discussion about, oh, when you get hurt, you get bumped back into a sector or a previous room. And so they actually had the mechanic on where you had to shoot to open up doors. And so that prevented accidentally backtracking because you got bumped. And this wasn't the best example because the enemy was so far off, so it doesn't really matter. So this seems like a nitpick, but there are rooms where there are enemies right at the doorway where they can become quite infuriating. And here's the thing, if the section loading was quicker, I wouldn't complain about it as much. I would still complain about it, but I would say it is a nitpick. But because sometimes these sectors take quite a while to load, it can be really frustrating. Unnecessarily frustrating. I would not call that a feature of the game. I think it'd be, in my opinion, it's one of those things that's like, oh, if you wanted to spend, another week on this, you could have fixed that. Oh, we're experiencing tons of slowdown here. And he's gone. It's not just that. The doors sometimes have enemies in front of them on the other side, so you get pushed back into an enemy you can't avoid. Yeah, and I was going to show there's some weird issues with velocity in this game. Darn it. I could have gotten him. Come on, jump at me. There we go. Get me! I'm standing right here. I'm right in front of you. And I'll get to that a little bit later once we get the last somersault upgrade. That is weird. Usually you can roll right over that hole. Okay, let me just bypass this room. I could have gotten a little bit closer to that. Oh, we do have to go up. That's right, that's second path. I think we're going to be entering a new area here. A new looking area. I guess I should be a little more specific about that. Okay. I think, you know, something I haven't tried before. Oh no. Yeah, I don't think we can jump. Oh, maybe we can jump across there. Yeah, I think we can jump across here. Let's give it a try. Yeah. Good. That's another one. Another area that's not unlocked until you get that jumping upgrade. Do we need to go down yet? Okay, yeah, there is a boss down here, if I remember right. He's also pretty easy now that I've played the game a few times. I just kind of spammed the bomb there. There was really no strategy going on there. Okay. What's interesting about this boss is it looks like there's probably a strategy I just haven't figured out yet with this little room here where you can, because you can shoot through the bubbles there. So there's probably something, but he seems like he avoids you quite a bit. So I don't know if there really is a strategy. It might just lead you off, because there's just a pattern with this guy's jump that if you figure out, yeah, I'll figure it out here in a second. Jumps. I think you just want to continue. No, I'll get it here. Or not. Huh. Ah, there we go, got it. Yeah, I knew there was a trick. I figured it out before. It's right when he jumps, you just go a little bit further in the opposite direction and you dodge that spike. Okay, I forgot what this one is. Triple shot. Oh, this is just a spread shot, which is kind of useful in this game. I don't think there's anywhere specific where it's like the level or the enemies were designed for this upgrade, but it is nice to have it because you can do some more damage to certain enemies. See, it would have been interesting to have something right here when you leave that boss that where this spread shot would be useful. But it's actually not useful at all in this section right here, which is interesting because there's obviously some design for the bomb jump. It kind of taught you right up front, right after the boss was finished, how to use that. Just, it's interesting that that wasn't used here. That design principle wasn't used here. So it's useful right there when he goes down into that pit, and so maybe I'm wrong about that. It is very useful for flying enemies later on in the game. Use my long jump. There we go. Okay, I think there's a save. Darn it. I think this is a save room. We haven't saved in a while. Should probably do that. And I need to get my bearings again here, because I don't want to go up too early, because it's actually a lot easier to... Gosh, I'm trying to remember what's in those 2 rooms. I don't think there's anything we need up in those 2 rooms. So we may bypass that. I think we're going to go over here to this big square first. It's the sewer area. Overshot it. Gosh. I just want to jump on this platform up here. Yeah, that's my problem with this jump mechanic. It is miserable for sections like this. Whereas, like on a Mario game, because you have control over your jump, you wouldn't have to worry about that quite as much. Oh wait, there may... Is there something? No, I don't think there's anything up in those rooms. We're just gonna skip over them. Ah, the sewer! Come on. There we go. Oh. You know, I take that back. The spread shot is pretty useful for some of these sections, now that I remember. Oh. Oh wait, let's see here. There's another save room down at the bottom left, and then there's another boss. A couple more bosses, actually. There's one up there, and then there's one in one of those 2 rooms. I can't remember which one. There's a little trick with the spread shot too, so you're getting a certain angle there, but if you point up you can get another angle, and so as enemies approach you, especially those flying enemies, it makes it a little bit easier to start out shooting straight and then switch to shooting straight up. In order to advance beyond this room, make sure you are wearing a protective suit. You should be able to find this item high up on a mountain in a very cold place, and we already got that. And that's actually some useful dialogue. It's not really not really justified in the sense that there's something in the environment that's telling you that. It just kind of pops up and says, well, you're going to get frustrated here if you don't have that protective suit. So there must have been some play testing or something where somebody got frustrated by getting all the way over here and not having that upgrade and not knowing where to go. Darn it. Timing these rats can be a little bit difficult. Get that rat. Die! There we go. I found out here you can actually shoot up through the floor if you time it just right, and you can kill those enemies, especially when you're coming back up here later on in the game. I don't know if that's a bug or a feature, but it is useful. We are going to save and farm some. We need some missiles and health. This is one of those places where it was obviously set up to do that, because it's a dead end with just 2 eggs in it, so you can farm some stuff. Okay. We are at maximum power. So this next boss that's coming up is the only boss I had a lot of trouble with. I still seemed like the last time I played him, I kind of figured out a strategy that worked, but I still struggle with him a bit. Let's see here. We don't want to... I don't think we want to go down here first. Yes, we don't. We want to go up first. This part is a little bit... tricks me up a little bit. Yeah, I got it. You can time those just right, which will be very useful later on. Get good at that. Okay, so this is the boss. Some sort of rat creature that can kind of go invincible when he wants to. So he'll attack you when you turn your back. Yeah, I still haven't quite figured. Come on, where are you? There you are. So yeah, he goes invincible. So I don't know if I'm actually hitting him here. I don't think I am. Guess this is one way to beat him. So you just crouch down. Oh. Never seen that one before. And you can stay like that forever. Yeah, and that is a problem. That's a design issue, the fact that you can just stay here forever. Yeah, definitely a problem. And he stays invincible until you turn around again, or you can jump over him. But I've always had difficulty. Yeah, I don't think jumping over him is really an option. Just do this little dance. Hopefully we'll make it. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna beat him. Hey, look at that. That was close. We got him. Yeah, I don't. That boss is interesting. I still haven't figured out the correct pattern for that. I assume there is a strategy to beating him, but and I know I've jumped over him a few times before. Okay, let's continue on to there's another boss really close here. So we got an upgrade that just allows us to jump a little bit higher, I believe. I think, yeah, we get that one. There might be one more of those, actually. I can't remember, but I don't want to go down yet. I don't know if we have a way to farm health up here, so we may be in a little bit of trouble. We may need to backtrack. Oh, and that is another issue I have. So for these vertical tubes, you can fall back down after you go up through them. So typically when you jump up through them, you have a vector, an X vector going on. So you're going to the left or the right. And so it usually isn't a problem. But if you jump straight up, you go up and you don't hit left or right, you fall straight back down. And that's where I think having some sort of mechanic where you're where there's a door that closes so you can't fall back through would be very useful to make the overall experience just a little bit better. Oh, it usually takes me a few times to get that one. Hopefully we have enough health to get through this one. I think we do. Oh, we should have gotten some missiles. We may not be able to beat this one. We'll see. We'll see. We may have to backtrack pretty far to stock up. I think I found if I go right to the edge here, whoops, I didn't want to do that. You can avoid most of his throws. Yeah, so this boss is pretty similar to the ice boss. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. Like, it feels copy and pasted. And there's quite a bit of slowdown here, too. I guess the strategy here is to actually go down and kill some of his minions, so he wastes time remaking them, but I found if you just sit here and shoot them. There's quite a bit of slowdown on this boss, too. Yeah, this boss, the ice boss, there's quite a bit of slowdown, but it's not quite as bad as this one, and I think that's because there's usually a few more enemies down there. There's also, I don't know if the animation is slowing things down. I don't imagine that would affect things too much. You're just switching a pointer. Come on. Yeah, but there's a lot of slowdown with this one. Yeah, I feel like these bosses could have had maybe another stage, where they, where you have to get on the other side of them or something, or you had to get on a different platform. I don't know. It feels a little bit lazy. I would have preferred less bosses with more thought put behind them, to be honest. But some of them feel a little copy and pasted. Roll bomb, force field, break certain blocks above you when flying after a roll bomb. Okay, so this opens up a few more areas, and in fact, we're going to be going to an area where we need it almost immediately. Press down 2 times to roll, press B to place a bomb. Blocks above you when flying will be destroyed. So, yeah. Cool. Oh, he's still alive. And now he's not. Go over here and save again, so we don't have to do that again. In case I really just don't do good. There we go. Okay, let's see if we can just drop down here. Aha! Aha! That is the one nice part about having no doorway on that, is that you can travel just a little bit faster. Okay. We are actually going to go down here, and then we're going to travel all the way over to the left, which is going to take a while. It's going to be a little bit boring. But it'll get us our last required upgrade. What time is it? Oh, it's only 7:30. We might get to the end of the game here if I fast track it. We technically only need this last upgrade in order to finish the game, so we will probably do that. Can I hit this guy? Oh, really? Ah, darn it. Hate those mice. You're feeling better this week. Yeah, I'm getting better slowly, CJ. It's been slow. It's been really slow getting better. I got hit really hard with the flu and probably had a few other things too. I'll try to conserve as much health here as I can, because our little journey we're about to embark on, there isn't much in the way of restoring your health. I don't know if I can hit this guy. I have to wait for him. Yeah. Okay, so here's our new ability, is we can break blocks above us, which unlocks basically just this area. I don't think you have to use it again anywhere else. Is here and then at the other end of this block that we're going to be traveling through. Oh, this room is a little frustrating because it looks like there should be a secret here, but there isn't. Because you can actually bomb yourself into this hole above the crates and below the ceiling, and it's just like, oh, it seems like there should have been a secret. But there's not. That's one thing, and after playing games like Hollow Knight, gosh, and even Symphony, oh yeah. Drop back down. See, this is one of those places where I'm like, I wish there was a door so I wouldn't have to waste that time. But yeah, Hollow Knight, Symphony of the Night. But after playing Hyper Light Drifter and how many secret little rooms there are, it's so satisfying to find those. Kind of wish they had done more of that in this game, and it wouldn't have been hard. And there's a situation. So at the end, spoilers. At the end of this game, there's a kind of this really copy and pasted section where you can pick up a lot of missile upgrades, but they're single missile upgrades. And the first time I ran into that, I thought, why didn't he just do some little secret rooms with tiles where you just bomb them or something to get into the room, or you have to do a little bit of, tricky movement or something to get into them, to hide all those little single missile upgrades. And there's one that he does that with. And so, Phobos thought about it, but decided not to do it with the rest of them. Just wanted to make it a kind of a grind fest to get all the rest of them, rather than, make it an interesting part of the environment. Darn it. Anyways, I think it was a missed opportunity. So, would have added just a little more depth to the game. Yeah, the last few days of getting better have been really slow going. I've had this cough pretty much non-stop for the last 3 or 4 days, and it's not that bad. Like, it doesn't hurt or anything. It's just there. And I imagine the doctor would say, oh, well, that's just fluids that, you know, when you're sleeping. Ugh, gosh. Not sure how he hit me up here, but sure. Why not? Oh, I hate the jump mechanic, man. I know it feels like, oh, just get good at it, but it just doesn't feel right. Gosh, I hope we don't die here. Wait for him to turn around. There we go. Oh yeah, and I can't hit this guy. We may die here. I jump to the... Yeah. I think we're gonna... Yep, we're dead. Let's try that again. And no health in that part either, so if you don't get this power up, you have to wipe and restart because you can't get back through the water puddle. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, there are a few parts in this game where you can really screw yourself over. And for, you know, somebody who's played it a few times, it's not that big of a deal. But if it's your first playthrough, that would be miserable. So, and here's the thing: some people might say that's nitpicking, but I would argue that that's bad design. You should never make a scenario where the player can at least backtrack. Gosh. That jump mechanic, man. I'm gonna complain about it because I really think it's poor design. I don't have to kill him, but I'm going to because I want to. Hey. Okay, let's see if we can do this next part a little bit better. Yeah, in fact, that's a good way of putting it, Bob. It's more of a hop than an actual jump mechanic. Because, yeah, he just... It's either... Oh, gosh, maybe it doesn't make sense the way the physics are working on it. Because so you're going to the left, right? And you're going to the left, correct? And then if you hit right, it shifts all that velocity over to the opposite direction, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, it works. It's functional. I just don't think it's ideal, and it feels like old school Atari games. That's what it feels like, and so I guess you could make an argument that way, but I would argue that's actually a bad thing. I cannot think... Yeah, it's an inertia thing. I can't think of any modern game that does it this way, and I think there's good reasons because I think it leads to a generally more negative experience set up your jump mechanic that way. So, and here's the thing: if you want your player to have a negative experience, I guess that can be a feature, but I won't agree with that. So, we're doing a little bit better here. See, what I've done before here is I jump over, and then I can usually jump again. I can jump again a little bit quicker. I'm not going to worry about killing them. If you can jump in the middle of them and then jump again, you can avoid getting hit by them, but I didn't do it quick enough. Okay. One nice thing about them stopping from moving once they go off the screen is in this case, you can strategize with that and jump over. So overall, what's your verdict on this game? I think it's meh. I think it's okay. Again, I am a little bit biased because I'm not a huge fan of platformers in general. And metroidvanias overall, but it's okay. It feels like, in my opinion, from somebody who creates content, who creates games, it does feel undercooked. It feels rushed, and with the bug issues that they ran into on launch, I think that's evidence of that. Again, they said that they tested for quite a while. And said that they didn't experience anything. And again, the bug that they ran into is console specific. So I guess I should talk about that a little bit. If I understand it correctly, and they do mention this on the forums, what was going on is they had a pointer. It had to do with memory allocation, which is typical for C code, as you're not handling your memory correctly. But there was something specific with initializing a block of memory. If they didn't clear it properly, it would cause problems later on, and that had to do with what they think is some Jag consoles don't, when you turn on the console, it doesn't clear the memory, and so some consoles, as when it boots, there's garbage there, I assume, or it just initializes differently somehow. And so when he was clearing up a variable or setting or clearing a pointer, freeing a pointer, or setting a pointer, there was an issue. And I don't know which one it is. I need to send an email over to him and see if Phobos would be willing to write just a little program that can reproduce the problem. But I don't know if he can do that, to tell you the truth, because it may be something that only manifests itself with large blocks of data or something. Might be harder to pinpoint that. Anyways, overall, I think it's okay. Yeah, and that's what it is it's something to do with memory allocation. So he was if you're familiar with linked lists in C code, all that means is, so you have a structure, which is just a set of data, and that data can be actual, like a value like an integer, but it can also be a pointer to another block of data. And so a linked list, what that is it's a set of structures that have a member in the structure that says this is the next block of data to go to, or the previous block of data. And so when he was, I assume he's using these linked lists for his enemies. And when you enter a sector, it creates that list. And the reason why you do a linked list is so you can pull stuff out and you can sort it easier. An array, you're kind of limited on what you can do. Well, you're not limited. It's slower to sort things in an array. A linked list allows you to sort things faster. There's other advantages too, and so what was probably happening is a block was being cleared out, and even though he was setting it to null or something, depending on the console and how the memory was initialized, it was causing a bug when he was trying to reset that later on. I think that's what was going on. And that's good to know because I actually haven't used linked lists myself in any of my games, but there is a game that I want to work on here soon that will probably be using a linked list. So it's good to know that that's a potential problem. Not quite. Gosh, timing this is... darn it. There we go, got him. Okay, this one's a little tricky. Got to get him to run, drop down. Missed him. Got him. Huh. It's weird that that first guy didn't activate. That was interesting. Okay, I think we can farm. Yeah, we gotta farm here. Do need missiles, but I do need health a little bit more than missiles right now. He jumped. Come on. There we go. Hey, we didn't get hit by that spike up there. That's nice. Yeah, I think I guess the main qualm I have with this game is the jump mechanic. Really, if that worked a little bit more like a modern game, I'd probably give this a bit more of a more glowing review. I try to give it as much leeway because it is a homebrew game, but yeah, it just feels like just a little bit, just slightly more effort. Some things could have been cleared up. So if you haven't played the game, this is the part that would probably get you. You'll get to a certain point near the end of the game and be like, what do I do? So I'm kind of spoiling things here a little bit. The last upgrade you need is a little bit hidden. Oh, whoops! I need to go up. It's one more room over. Darn it. Should have got to a run. There we go. Let's see here, 746. Well, I don't think we're going to beat the game here, but we are going to get our last upgrade. I'm probably going to call it good, and I won't spoil the end of the game for people. Okay, so right here, paying attention, those blocks look like blocks that you've blown up before. It can be a little harder to find in this section because everything, there's a very monochromatic color scheme going on here, so it can be kind of hard to see those blocks the first time you come through here. Yep, there we go. What I am going to show you is the one bug that I found, which I don't think they fixed, but we will take a look at it here. Endless somersault skill. Reach further with jump. Press A to jump. Press A again on your way up. Press A repeatedly to continue somersaulting. So this is a really interesting ability. And you know, it does work for this game because the bosses are relatively simple, and so it's not easy to exploit the bosses with this, as far as I know anyways, with this new ability, but I'll show you here in a second once I can get up. time my jumps a little bit. So if you jump up and you just keep hitting that jump button, you can travel across entire sections now, as long as there isn't any obstacle up on the ceiling. Oh no. Die! So it's kind of pointless right there, I guess, but yeah, I'll get to more here in a second, CJ. This is what I think is pretty broken. So you'll notice here, if you time your jump right, you can actually climb. Yep. But there's even more, CJ, and I don't know if you've found this out, but yeah. So you can never fall, which I think Phobos was aware of that when he made this, and so you can say it's technically a nitpick to say, well, it shouldn't work that way, you know, but because yeah, for example, Bob Dunlock says that's pretty flipping cool, and maybe he's making he's playing play on words there, but yeah, but going up, yeah, I agree. And this, okay, so I think this is the room you can do it in. So let's clear out the bad guys. And I did figure this out on accident, because there's another thing that this jump mechanic does that you may not have noticed. Almost there. Okay, we have this nice big room that we've cleared. Whoops. That we've cleared the enemies out of, and it has a high ceiling. That's another requirement. So let's look at it on the map here. So yeah, it's a really long room, has a high ceiling. So if you get a running start, and you do your jump, you'll notice you'll get faster and faster and faster and faster. If you come down and you go through a door, and if you hold the direction, you'll fly. So he's not clearing whatever variable he has for the velocity there. And it's consistent, like, it's pretty nuts. In fact, I can do it here without killing all the bad guys. But yeah, you get faster for some reason. Which is, I think, silly. And your velocity doesn't clear. And so, anyways, thought I'd show that last bug before we call it a day. Anyways, I don't know why. It's all because... Oh, that'll all be because of the vertical doors. Yeah, it's strange. And I told him about this while when we were trying to figure out those other bugs. And for some reason, I should get to a save point here. If you cleared it, you couldn't get out of them. Oh, that's true. He could have made a case, though, for horizontal versus vertical doorways. And again, that goes back to where I feel that this game is a little bit half-baked. It's cool. It's fun for what it is. It's a little shallow in terms of the boss battles. Some of the boss battles are repetitive. There could have been a little more strategy, a little more thought put into there to make him a little more interesting. And then there's some mechanical things where I think with a little bit more play testing, a few more opinions circulating around while he was in the thick of programming it, I think he probably would have made those changes. But we're actually pretty much back at the start of the game. Let's see here. Where's the closest save? I think it's just, yeah, it's just right over here. Save here really quick, and then we'll call it a stream. We'll talk about it here a little bit more before we get off. Okay, save. Be Careful standing up when you clear blocks. If it's not 100% clear, he'll stand up in a wall and you'll have to power. Yes, I did run into that once too. I'm a little surprised that that wasn't fixed. Because yeah, that is game breaking. There was one. Gosh, when did that happen? Yeah, there was one place where I did get stuck on a wall at some point. And here, let me adjust my mic here. Going back to the idea that there's things being a little bit half-baked with this game, is whoa, how did I do that? I'm floating. Did I just jump? Oh yeah, I just jumped. Interesting. Yeah, just little things like that. They're just like, well, they could have polished that out if they wanted to. What was I talking about? I don't even know what I was talking about. Yeah, there's a lot of things that add up that make it feel like the developer was rushing rather than saying, oh, I really care about this, I want to get it done right. And that doesn't mean it has to be perfect. I'm not saying that. And a lot of these things don't absolutely break the game either, but they add up to an experience that I think for some people will tilt it more towards this isn't a very good game. For me, it's kind of in the middle. It's disappointing to see that there wasn't a little more effort put into some of the obvious things that could have been changed to make it an overall better experience. But I know some people would argue that that is nitpicking. So I can see why he didn't do it too. Yeah, so I'm a little concerned with the next game that Phobos is working on. What's it called? Can't remember. It's a Zelda-like game. He has. I think he has a couple games, 2 or 3 games that he's working on right now. But one of them is a Zelda-like game, and I love RPG adventure games like The Legend of Zelda. I really enjoy those games, and so I'm a little nervous that first that there's going to be a rough launch. Like on this one. Hopefully not. Hopefully the lesson was learned that we need to test this on a few more systems, get a few more people play testing. So hopefully that lesson was learned. I think it was. But my concern is that because Zelda games tend to be a little bit longer, well, I shouldn't say that. They seems like there's a lot more that could go wrong. In terms of little things that stack up to create a less than ideal experience. Yeah, it's an cumulative effect. Yeah, and that's the point I want to make here is these things in and of themselves as individual things may not be game breaking for most people. But yeah, like I said, they stack up, especially as much as you've played this game. I put way too much time in this game. In my opinion, I've probably put 15, 16 hours into this game, which I wish I could get some of that back. But at the same time, I did learn something about programming in the removers library that I need to keep an eye out. So it was worth it. I think it'll be worth it in the long run. But I don't think this is a game that you should play 4 or 5 times over, maybe twice. If you enjoyed it the first time, definitely play through it again to try to get that 100% mark, or try to beat it in the lowest percentage possible. I know some people are trying to do that. And that's something I should probably mention, that in the forums, there's a lot of positive critique for this game, and that's good. I don't want to shoot all that down, but I wanted to do a playthrough today so people could see that they're definitely not a perfect game. I think if you do enjoy Metroidvanias, I think you'll enjoy this game in general, but I hope we can see just a little bit more polish in Phobos's next games coming up. So it's cool that we're seeing this much homebrew on the Jag, but something we deal with that's a little bit unique with the Jag is, and maybe I'm stretching things a little bit here, but with the marketing of the Jag, 64-bit power, it's a 64-bit system, that whole thing, there's kind of this expectation, and it may be an unrealistic expectation, that the games on the Jag should be good, that anything new that is being made for it should be really good, because we did get a lot of crappy games on the Jag, a lot of garbage. We did get some good games too, but and so and I don't want to sit here and lecture somebody on how they should make games, but I kind of hope that for future games that there's a little more time put into working out those rough points. Anyways, I guess I shouldn't say much. I can't even get my next games out the door. So who am I to say anything, right? But anyways, that was Asteroite. If you're thinking about getting it, I would suggest getting it. I think enough effort was put into it to justify that. Purchasing a copy. I am looking forward to Phobos's other games. I'm looking forward to and I'm gonna stroke your ego here a little bit, CJ. I am looking forward to Gravitic Minds. The demo is a blast. I'm excited to play that game. And I've like Lunar Lander games and Oids. They've never been my favorite games, but because they are so difficult. But Gravitic Minds, playing that demo, I think I've been through the demo like 3 times now. I really enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to playing that. I'm hoping that the difficulty curve isn't too much for me, but we'll see. But yeah, thanks for joining me, Matt Smith. It's good to see you. Good to talk with you guys. Dataset user, you too. And I'll be on again tomorrow. We're actually going to play some Last Strike tomorrow, and that game is difficult. I've picked up and played it a couple times. I want to spend some time with it, and that's why I want to stream it again tomorrow. But it's going to be a Marmite for some people. I know that up front. Yeah, and so I'm expecting a challenge, though. Based on the demo, I'm expecting a challenge, but it's not insurmountable, too. At least the demo isn't, and so it should be interesting. So I'm excited to play it. I'm excited to share it with some of my brothers, because they were way into Oids back in the day. I think even my dad was into that, and so I'm planning on setting it up for him so he can try it out. He loves Lunar Lander, the original arcade game, and so I'm hoping that this will be a good experience for him. But okay, if you're doing Last Strike, go to options and turn on auto fire and 7 lives. That's good to know. Maybe that's why I'm struggling with it. I thought it did have some sort of auto. Oh, isn't the auto fire an upgrade if you have it turned off? Seems like there's something. Or maybe I'm thinking of Blood Money. Can't remember. But anyways, if you have a GD, I'd send a ROM, but it cannot run on the Skunk board. I do have the Jag GD. If you want me to play Gravitic Minds tomorrow, I'm willing to do that if you want to send me a ROM. I do have a Jag GD, and so we can get that booted up. Great stream. See you next time. Wilco, thanks for coming. If CJ, if you want me to play that live on stream, we can do that. Or I can just do Last Strike. I wanted to give Reboot a little bit of love before Gravitic Minds comes out, and I think I've streamed Last Strike once, but it was really short, and so I wanted to give it a little more time. But anyways, okay, sounds good, CJ. Again, thanks for watching. All the jazz, like and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. Bye.